Wicked, 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 wicked. Wicked tones, you know.
A lot of people write me in their, they'll see like the exercises I do or I demonstrate and they'll say, oh, you know, I live in a place where the gyms don't have that equipment. So they're like, can you show us stuff with dumbbells? Can you show us stuff with like barbells? All that stuff. And it's like, yeah, like I can. Don't get me wrong. Like, and I told people this, like, who asked me, like, I don't use a lot of free weights. I'm more into machines, right? Especially with someone like me who I have shoulder issues, rotator cuff problems. I have like issues that I don't really want to aggravate them by having to do barbell and dumbbell work where things can happen there where I can control the variables a lot more on machines. But it's also like tell a lot of people, like if your gym, I'm not talking people who come from like maybe parts of the world where there aren't gyms or any gym to speak of. But if you're like going to a gym that's subpar, you need to get to a gym that has better stuff. Like just spend the money and make the commitment and go there, right? Because like I can teach you, if I'm gonna do skull crushers, right? So even if I'm gonna do skull crushers, but I'm gonna do it with independent dumbbells, right? So say I have whatever weight you guys use, instead of doing it with a barbell and I kick back, right? The thing is with like dumbbells and barbells, it's hard for a lot of beginners and a lot of people who are inexperienced and don't connect well to their lifts. Like it's hard for them to find their tension points. Whereas like I'll show you after this, like on a cable, it's very easy to find tension because the tension is constant. Like the cable is pulling you back. Whereas if I sit here and I lock these dumbbells up, right here there's zero tension other than me just stabilizing the dumbbell. So if I break my elbow and I come down and I relax, there's very little tension here too. So in this range, like here I'm relaxed, I can sit here all day. I'm just folded in my arm's collapsed. So I feel a stretch in my tricep a little bit, but it's not till I lift off my body that I get that tension of that dumbbell being pulled to the ground, right? So that I'm trapped on my body here, nothing happens. People who pin here and they go like this, and they just fire up from these stagnant positions. You have to understand, you have to create your tension. So I have to get it so that this dumbbell is being pulled down and I'm allowing that to happen. So it's almost like I'm trying to create a cable feel on the dumbbell, that it's a cable pulling me back here. There's so much weight under, like coming from the bottom of the dumbbell, that I'm extending up and then catching. But if I extend up too far, I lose the tension. You understand what I'm saying? So if I don't find this range where it's like deep stretch, rock, and I'm able to understand that tempo. So a lot of people in their beginners will be like, or like even intermediate people are doing that, where they're just like flicking to a point, flicking to a point, flicking to a point. So like overall stimulation of the muscle is probably like 40%, because one, you're limited by the amount of weight you're using, which is going to cause the tension to pull back and create that tension going backwards. That when I can only extend to about 3/4 range, or it's just going to lock out and feel like nothing, right? So it's if we go to like a cable machine, so even if it was just random, this isn't what people do, but even if I have 30 pounds here, right, and I hang my arms back behind my head, this is the exact same position I was in, except now I'm standing. And I have constant tension because this cable wants to go back to where it started all the time. So the further I lean away from it, the more tension I get on the cable, because it wants to go back, right? There's more tension pulling it back. So if I sit here and I put my elbows where they are and I extend out here, I never lose tension, and I have to control more on the down, or this cable is gonna rip me back if I don't control, right? So I'm able to extend, not only lock out almost, but catch and stretch again. And the stretch is far more intense here with a cable than it ever could be with a dumbbell, because there's no track that this thing on. There's no cord that's pulling this thing back and keeping constant tension on the muscle, right? It's just my hand floating in air. So it's like it's become popular with a lot of guys in this gym and a lot of people everywhere. People are used to seeing like dumbbell kickbacks. Like where you kind of, either some guys do them standing, they just kind of rock and they fire up, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like the only point of tension when you're firing up a dumbbell here is there, and then it sinks down. So it's just maybe the concentric part of the lift where I'm flexing and I'm relaxing, because I can't get this elbow up high enough to create tension with that dumbbell. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to use machines that are conducive to eliciting the most tension, right? And if you don't even have a cable machine where you're at and you're forced to only use dumbbells, it's like, understand that your task is going to be a lot greater in terms of keeping tension and understanding connecting with muscle, right? Like, I have to go slower there in order to control the eccentric part of the lift and then keep it on my muscle, because too far it's off and too much down it just relaxes into my shoulder. Whereas here I can get my elbow up as high as I want it, play with it, and just rock right on tricep the whole entire time, right? So it's the same with it's the same if we do chest with dumbbells, and everyone asks, like, go do a chest workout with dumbbells. It's like, I'm not gonna do that in this gym because it's not optimal for me. Like, if I have access to this stuff, which you should have access to at least like a few chest machines, or a Smith machine even, right? So it's like, your Smith machine is a lot greater because it's on a fixed track, and there's a tension system on there, whether it's sliding on a pole, some of them are cable, right? So it's creating this like sinking and relaxing feeling where it's like tension is always on the bar. It's not like you just unhook it and it drops down like a fucking stone. Some of them do, the old ones, but like, so if you're gonna do chest press and you're like, oh, I only have dumbbells, then do that. But understand that your amount of the amount of focus and like concentration when it comes to doing presses with dumbbells is a lot more than if I do a machine, right? So even if I kick these 25s, right? I'm gonna do flat chest press, incline. Everyone's been asking me to do incline dumbbell press like fucking unbelievable amount of times. Like, if people don't understand incline dumbbell presses and like how like the steeper the degree of the angle, how much more shoulder it is than chest, by now, like, I can't help you. You're just gonna have to keep doing that and suffering, right? So it's the same thing here. If I only have dumbbells at my house, or I only have dumbbells at my gym, like, God knows what gym or what you're doing, but I kick these up, I have to maintain tension across my dumbbells. We've talked about this before. So there's a tension line across my hands and across my chest. So I'm locked into my lats. I'm not flared in my shoulders. I'm locked into my lats and my chin is tucked down. So right now there's tension, but I can hold it because I'm locked in my back. So there's not a lot of tension. Obviously, the heavier you go, it's gonna be pretty bad to hold here, right? So I'm gonna squeeze up and I'm gonna relax down. The amount of control that's required on a dumbbell press to get a good negative, where I'm rocking up and then I'm settling down through and catching with that tension again, my pace is literally this quick, even with 25s, in order to accommodate the amount of stress I'm trying to keep on my muscle, right? So if you're just jacking these things up, nothing's happening, right? It's a fucking arm push. Whereas on a machine, it's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. You're fucking stabilizing, you're working more muscles doing your dumbbells. Like, come on, fuck. So we'll use like the most basic chest press. So hopefully everyone has access to like some piece of equipment that's similar to this. It may not be this one. Any type of like horizontal chest press where I'm just in line with the machine, sitting bench. So if I catch here and now I'm holding here, I don't need to wonder where my tension is. I'm locked in my back and my weight's in the seat, and I'm gonna drive out and I'm gonna feel that tension back. So I don't have to, of course I have to stabilize, but with a dumbbell, I'm literally out here and I have to be like, that's the tempo of a dumbbell. Whereas the tempo here is just push. Because that pressure is pushing my palm back and squeezing my back, firing my palm. So it's this rocking feeling. That's why this rocking motion happens on a lot of pressing for people, because that's a natural sway of the body, right? So I don't have to think about controlling my negative here. That's where people make this mistake, because they're taught on dumbbells, and they're taught on free weights, where you do have to stabilize like crazy coming down, because this fucking dumbbell is floating in no man's land, and I have to fucking figure out where it's gotta stay. Whereas here, I'm set down where I wanna be, I just push. And then I catch, and I push. So I don't need to go and then go here. Because I'm on a track, I'm on a path, and there's tension on the cord, I can just move around that tension and drive. So I'm still controlling, it's just the reps faster and recruiting more muscle fiber, right? Because my negatives aren't as like zombie creeping death fucking negatives. So it's like, don't look at the way, obviously do that on dumbbells, do that on barbell presses. You don't want to like be these guys who like take off massive weight and fucking drop it on their chest and throw it off, because that's what happens, right? But it's like, once you get that tension down, understand how beneficial machines are, because they're stepping in and being like, okay, we got the tension for you. You don't have to think about that as much. Let's just think about moving weight now. Because you're stuck in this position and you can just move now. I don't have to be like, my bench, my head, oh, my shoulder feels weird like that. Let me move my dumbbell into a little bit. I'm gonna be out here more. When I get tired on the fucking dumbbells, I'm gonna end up doing this, one hand over the other. When I get tired here, I can do that too, where I can muscle like people do. But I'm in a less chance of hurting myself because I'm on a track I can't get off. So this thing is moving on this line no matter what I do. Even if I start doing all kinds of crazy shit like this thing's still gonna move on the line it's on, right? So it's just a lot better to teach people on machines and then get them going back into free weights or whatever it is you need to do to like make them understand tension. Tension is the name of the game when it comes to building muscle. It's not about like, oh, I moved this weight from A to B and now my chest is fucking massive and so is my back because I pulled this thing really quick up to my chest and let it down, right? And that's why I'm not a big fan of, I used to do it and I tore my fucking pec doing it, is heavy dumbbell presses. Because those, like, if you go to the 150s over there, the 150, one side of it's this wide. So the other side's this wide. So now you have a dumbbell this wide. So I have to bring two dumbbells down that are like almost touching when I hold them here. They're almost like literally tapping. So now I just have to break them a bit and push them back to that line. So I can't even get in more. I can't squeeze my chest more than the line that I'm stuck on with those dumbbells. Not to mention that heavy dumbbell is also like a massive risk of injury, right? Because things aren't gonna lock down properly because I can't get myself in position with those dumbbells the way I want to because I'm so panicked about the weight. Whereas if the weight goes up high here, it just doesn't move. We fail at the bottom here. If we fail at the bottom with 150-pound dumbbells, bad things are gonna happen. We're gonna roll out, fucking tear a pec, fuck our shoulder up, pop a bicep, whatever it could be, right? So leave that shit up to like your strength will indicate your ability to do so, but like don't think that like this whole adage that we talked about before with, oh, you gotta lift free weights to gain muscle. Like anyone who's saying that comes from an era where they didn't have what we have now. And they're just stuck in their ways and like, this is how we've done it. And we've always like the old timer shit, like, it's better in my day. It's like, no, there's so much great equipment now that allows you to move in such a more efficient manner and like so much more of such a positive way for like the way the body actually moves to save you from injury, to save your joints. So it's like you saw these guys who are like, I'm sure there's guys watching who do this, who are like in their 50s, my age, and they came up like in hardcore gyms. And like, I press dumbbells all the time. And they're like me. They got fucked up shoulders. Because I did that shit too. I'm not like smarter than everybody. I made the mistakes, but I learned from my mistakes. I didn't go back to doing the same stupid shit. I walked down another street. I didn't keep walking down the same street and have the same bullshit happen to me. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't break guys of that mentality as much as you should, but like you guys and girls who are coming up, don't be afraid to use machines. These whole adages of like, people like, you can't grow on machines, you grow on free weights, or girls do this and guys do that. If you want big legs, you gotta do this. It's like, all that shit is nonsense. If you ask someone where they heard that, they can't even tell you. And if you ask the person, and if they do know where they heard it from some idiot. And if you ask that idiot, they don't know where they heard it from. It's just this like weird shit that's passed down from generation to generation. Like, you gotta eat this to fucking get big. It's like, no, I could probably eat anything I wanted. Like, if I don't like fucking chicken, I'll eat some red meat. If I don't like dumbbells, I'll fucking use like the prime press over there, which is like one of the best pieces of equipment in this gym. And that fucking new tech fly that this guy's doing right here, we won't show him because he didn't give us permission, but It's like these things are like in great angles to allow you to feel your chest and like understand movement. And those pathways, like we talked about before, will carry over to the free weight stuff you want to do because you understand like where tension is, how I'm locking down. So when I take dumbbells now, I know to lock in my lats. A dumbbell press is not my shoulders. It is my lats and my triceps driving through. So I'm coming around my lat, extending my triceps, squeezing my chest. So people just need to really do what feels right to you. And if you're a beginner or someone who's like coming up and you're like, man, I keep doing these dumbbell presses or the whatever lift it might be, and it's fucking me up. Like I'm twinging my shoulder every time I do deadlifts or squats or whatever barbell rows, heavy barbell rows, I fuck my back up. It's like, well, leave that lift, man. That's obviously not the lift for you. It might be the lift for people you look up to, so-and-so, this guy, but that so-and-so or whoever has been doing that lift for a long time. So they have lots of history with that lift, like we said before. So like find your lifts and find your lifts that you can maybe push the weight up on. Like for me, my lifts were barbell shrug, incline barbell press, and even dumbbell press to an extent, right? And I was good at hack squatting. I could get up high on hack squats. It was comfortable for me. I didn't hurt myself. I never felt anything. So those are the lifts I decided to like center my like strength, judge my strength capabilities or my going up in those lifts. I didn't care about the other lifts. Like it was just like, yeah, I was trying to get a little stronger all the time and maybe push the weight a little bit, get more tension, like feel things better. But I was consciously aware of like, these are my 3 core lifts or 4 core lifts. This is where I build my power. This is where I build my base, right? And if that happens to be a chest press like this elicits you being able to do more weight, feel more tension, and connect to your muscle better, why are you going back to the barbell? Like you can go back to it eventually if you want to try it again and see if like this newfound strength and ability and like being able to lock down transfers over. But if it's causing you pain, it's time to do something new. It's not like go just fight through the pain. Your shoulder will adapt. It will. It won't lift like mine doesn't lift. It'll be like, it'll adapt all right. It's like ever since I came to this, like doing these videos and things like that, I always notice like when a lot of other people do their intros, it's always like, what's up guys, or how's like the whatever crew out there, like my soldiers, whatever the fuck it might be, like some random thing. It's like, who the fuck are you talking to? Like I'm here with Alora right now in an empty gym. Like there's a bunch of people. It's like, there's no hey guys. Like, I realize people are watching, but it's just me and Alora.
It's just us.
Yeah, so it's not, if I say, hey guys, it's like, is there an audience behind me? It's like, I don't know, that's become like the #1 tagline when people like sign on to the videos. Hey guys, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's just like these adoring fans just like sitting with bated breath for your fucking video, like, or it's live even. It's not even live. So, hey guys, what? Like, just come on your video and start talking.
You gotta stare right into the screen.
Yes. You just come on and start talking. Yeah, I don't watch videos long enough to see the outro, so it's just funny. It's fun. Like I'm talking, this isn't just like fitness people or like bodybuilding. This is like the culture of YouTube. Like I'm talking top YouTubers and all this stuff. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Like, welcome back to what? Welcome back to what? This isn't its own like metaverse here, guys. Like we're not living in this little like, I don't live in this camera. I don't live in the fucking channel of YouTube. Like, welcome back to where we are. Like, it's like the weirdest shit ever.